What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla stock and talk about some very important things. I'm also going to talk about some key levels on SPY, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. But before I do anything like this, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just about 6 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market and Tesla. So looking at Tesla, as of right now, Tesla's starting to sell off a little bit harder. And this was a little surprising because the market is still kind of green, but it is also selling off. I just wasn't expecting Tesla to sell off this hard, at least for today. So we did get that little pump I was talking about in the markets. If you look at SPY, it went all the way up to 447. And then I told you guys the market would likely slow down and come back down very close to max pain based off the options chain. And max pain happens to be at around 445 on SPY, at least the last time I checked it. So this was what I was predicting on SPY, but I also came to the conclusion that it should close very close to max pain, if not a little bit above it. So in the 445 is where we should close. So we might see a lot of sideways price action around here for SPY between 445 and 446. Now it's also possible for us to retest the 444s before getting a bounce. That is another possibility. So watch 444.5 and 444 flat as some very, very tight supports. SPY is slowing down. There's nothing like out of the ordinary with this potentially happening, but we're going to be watching to see, can we close above max pain? It should be very, very close to that. So I think it's just going to be very boring, very sideways for the rest of the day, at least for SPY and these other tickers. But what about Tesla? Why is Tesla selling off? Well, so far, I haven't really seen any big news affecting it. I haven't seen anything like too crazy. Most of the news that came out has been quite positive, with the Hilton deal, with some new news that came out involving the Model Y, which is taking up a large EV share in France, and more of these, EV news, which have been pretty good for Tesla. Honda also adopted Tesla's charger, which is very, very good news. And we're going to continue to see good news like this for Tesla's future. So far, so good. We're going to be watching to see what happens with our options chain later on. And for now, if you look at SPY, it is, once again, continuing to just sell off a little bit, but it should be very stationary very soon and start to range trade very soon, in my opinion. Tesla's starting to sell off a little bit harder. This was not what I was expecting initially. I thought we would get like a pump and a drop and a close very, very flat, a little bit in the green. We're actually starting to turn red. And when you look at Tesla, we're approaching our 200 EMA. So we're going to be watching this 446.5 to 446.75 area as our critical support. There's also some support at 247.5. I think I misspoke. It's 246.5 to 246.75 is support, and then 247.5. These are going to be some very, very important levels. So please watch that very carefully on Tesla for its support. Tesla is continuing to downtrend just a little bit. We're going to be watching it for the time being. It should be basing very soon. I don't really see it crashing or anything like that. I think it's just going to start trading sideways as time goes on and close quite flat overall. But still not too bad, as we did get a nice pump to start us off, and there's potential for next week. Now going into Aapl, Aapl is still holding above 179, still looking quite decent. And here's the thing about Aapl, we have that big event coming out next week on the 12th. So approaching the event, the chart looks like it's getting ready for a turn. It looks like it wants to start pushing to fill this gap up here. I think Aapl has more upside for next week just early on. And everything could change depending on the event. If it's like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event, there's a possibility that's going to happen. But approaching the 12th, approaching Tuesday, I think Apple's going to continue pushing a little bit more. This could help the whole market hold up at these higher levels and try to bounce very, very soon. So watch these levels carefully. Hopefully Tesla tries to rebound a little bit. You can see it's making some attempts to do so off the 247.5 support. And then for the QQQ, my prediction was this thing would push up to about 374 to 375, then reject and still close kind of green. That's very close to what's happening so far, except for like the close part. The QQQ pushed up to about 374.85, so super, super close. Came down from the double top, and now it's starting to cool off a little bit. It's holding the 5 minutes 200 EMA as support, so watch that very carefully. It's now going to be, in my opinion, just between our 50, which is around 373.24, and then the support is going to be around 372.6. So it's going back and forth and back and forth. Might just continue to range trade for the rest of the day and be kind of boring. For Nvidia, I was hoping Nvidia would get a nice push up a little higher than this. It ended up being a little weak after some news about how the CEO has sold some shares. So unfortunately, didn't get the bounce just yet. But I do believe in the future, Nvidia is at this support and could be forming a double bottom here. We're going to be watching this support at 448 to 452. Those are going to be some key zones. That's where we tend to see a lot of support where Nvidia likes to bounce. And right now it's trying to hold this 456 area as support. So watch that very, very carefully. As of right now, Nvidia is still very flat. It's not looking extremely weak. It's not looking extremely strong. But on the 4-hour time frame, it's making attempts to bounce. If you look at where it's holding, it's trying to hold our 200 EMA. If it breaks below this, then 448 is the last sign for it to try to hold up before this thing starts sinking harder. So far, it's holding up. So we want to see it bounce off this and at least hold, at the very least, this 200 EMA or very close to it. Want to see it hold it. If it manages to hold for the time being, that's going to be a good sign for Nvidia. And this thing could always bounce going into next week, just temporarily, right as we approach Apple's big event, and everything else could change from there. But it's at support, so watch these levels very, very carefully. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Do what you have to do, guys. And last but not least, just to talk about a couple of other things, the NASDAQ is not necessarily done just yet. You could see it came very close. It's getting this full measured move. We came up to pumping. There could be more room for upside next week, just temporarily, thanks to Aapl before a big change after the event. Same thing with SPX. This thing is still trying to show some life. Still trying to hold up, and it's very flat as of right now. It did manage to get this gap that we were talking about, this decent sign. On the VIX has been coming down, continuing to fall and fill these gaps. There is more room for this gap down here. You might see the VIX kind of bounce a little bit, then maybe come down early on Monday, which means the market may kind of push up higher for Monday, in my opinion, because of Aapl. And then we could see something change on Tuesday after Apple's big event. If you look at the dollar got this very, very clean rejection off this 105 area. Came down as the market pumped, but it got a bounce off its 200 EMA. Now it's starting to push up, but it's at resistance. So I don't really see the dollar breaking out like crazy. It's just at resistance, which means the market's not going to crash or drop too hard. We might just continue to range trade as time goes on. Same thing with Amazon and the metas. They're just kind of stuck now, going back and forth at these levels. Watch the 5 EMA, this 138.25 area on Amazon. For Meta, don't forget to watch our 298 support, very close to that. It's fighting 300 as resistance, but it's also very close to 298 as critical support. So watch that all very carefully. Meta is very flat right now. So far, the market is still doing all right. All right, so for Tesla, we're trying to get back above 248, trying to make an attempt to bounce. However, Tesla's still a little bit red, showing some relative weakness compared to the market. The market could be anticipating some new news for Tesla. Something big could be coming over the weekend, and they may already know about this because someone always knows something before anything happens. That could be why Tesla's relatively weak. I didn't see the news just yet, but something could be coming, so be very careful. And let's just see if Tesla can try to maintain these levels. It's still making attempts to do so. So go on the 4-hour time frame with your extended hours on, and then watch your EMAs carefully. That is where Tesla's finding some support. And we'll see what happens from here on out. Just know Tesla's looking a little bit weak because something could be coming out very, very soon. And just be patient to do what you have to do, guys. I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Enjoy the weekend that's coming, and peace out.